Hello, online crew. How's your day going? Mine's a disaster. Do you ever have one of those days where just everything kind of it's just like the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and I just ripped my notes for this live, and it's just I won't go into details, but it's just one of those days. So the good thing about that is the only way is up. Agreed? So welcome to today's live. We'll be lucky to get through this live if I make any sense at all, but I will do my best considering the day I have. And I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to one of my right-hand girls, Olive Dodd, who's just helped me out with a huge issue with my website, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this resolves the issue once and all for Olive. Let's see. But we're major troubleshooting this morning. Well, it's morning in my part of the world anyway. I know for a lot of you it's the afternoon or the evening. But if we haven't met before, I'm not normally this chaotic, but my name's Helen Martin and I'm your online crew captain. Sometimes the captain doesn't have it together. Is that okay? Like, that's just keeping it real here. But I am here to help home-based business owners, entrepreneurs, direct sellers, social sellers, if you're in network marketing, all of the above, and you want to seriously build your business online with modern social media strategies, but you want to do it in a way where you are a human before a marketer, like you have integrity about the way that you grow online, then you're in the right place here. Okay. And what I want to share with you today is what I consider 7 of my top tips for you guys to attract more people to you online. There's just some of the, I know you like all the fancy stuff, all the latest training, or maybe this is the answer, maybe that's the answer, or here's the silver bullet. There's no silver bullet when it comes to the online world. It's just like the foundations of some of the things that you could do. So what I'm talking about today, there's 7 things. They're the foundational things that you really want to prioritize. So there's a lot of things that you can do on social media, a lot of training that you can do, but I would really look at these 7 things that I'm going to share with you today about the foundational things that you really have to, 6 of them anyway. The number 7 is a bit of a choice, but I do recommend it. But we'll get to that in a sec. So how are you guys? How's our online crew today? Are you doing really well? Hope you're having a smoother day than I am. But all good, all good. So say hello if you're joining me live. Let me give you a shout out. We've got Instagram over here. We've got Facebook, YouTube, and my free group here. So we've got Cherie. How are you, Cherie? Been there, done that. Agree to only the ways. Hello, Beth. How are you? We did it. Hope that. Is that you, Olive? Hope it works. How come you're coming up as Facebook user? I don't know if that's Olive or not. But yeah, that's weird. So whoever said, yeah, we did it, hope it works. I think that should be Olive, but I can't see your name. Hi, Tina. How are you? Good to see you on live. Of course it's okay. You are human. Nobody is perfect. Nobody's business is perfect. Nobody's day goes perfectly. So just, kind of keeping it real. Ford, listening carefully, notepad at hand. Good to hear. Now, before we get into these 7, what I consider to be my top 7 tips, I do want to remind you that the details above in the description, if you're watching from Instagram, I'll put it in the comments section. I'll have to look at the number. It's either 26th, 27th, or 28th round of our Build Your Brand course is coming up next week. So if you haven't sorted out your branding message yet, this will come up in a second, one of the 7 things, then you might want to look at the details above. Okay. It is Olive. That's interesting. You've dropped off StreamYard, Olive. So you might have to click it again. Okay, so let me run through them for you. So number 1, absolutely, hands down, your content. So remember what we're talking about here. We're talking about how do we attract more people to you. You can't attract people to you if you're not posting. You can't attract people to you if you don't have good content. You don't have, you can't attract people to comment and get a vibe from you and gel with you and, follow a journey with you if you're not putting out good content. You're not putting out regular content. You're not just putting out any content at all. So content is king. Content, when I look at your profile, tells me a story about you. So what is your content sharing with the big wide world of social media? Your content creates your billboard of who you are, what you stand for, what you enjoy, what kind of person you are. Are you the kind of person that just complains all the time on social media? That won't last long. People will turn off you pretty quickly. Or are you that person that people look at and it's like, what have they posted today? What weird, wonderful thing have they posted today? You know, or are they inspirational? Or every time they post, they're so empowering. Like, what vibe do you create from your billboard? So number one is your content. And some of you might need to revisit that. And seriously, like if you're serious about building a business on social media, you've got to give priority to your content. Hands down, no question about it. Now, where does the content come from? What kind of content do you put out there? Number two. So I'm not necessarily saying number one and number two are in order of priority because they're kind of equal, really. But number two is knowing your personal brand. If you want to attract more people to you, you have to be a bit laser focused about that content and about what you stand for and about what problems you solve for, and know who your target market is on social media. Because you just can't put posts out there thinking, I'll just put it out there and hopefully some of it will stick with some people. The kind of the posting and praying type strategy doesn't work anymore. It did work probably about 5 years ago or so. People could use social media so much more easily than they do now. But have a look what's happened around the world in the last couple of years if you hadn't noticed. Everybody's online. Everybody's trying to, get on the online world because they've had to. So a lot more people online means a lot more competition. So unless you've got a brand that people know you for, and that you're creating an audience around, how the hell are you going to stand out from the crowd? Social media will never get less. It'll only get more. More people on it, more crowded, more distractions, more information. We are bombarded with information every single day. As soon as you pick up your phone, your head is being, impounded with information from other people. How do you cut through that noise? You build a brand, guys. And don't overlook that. I've some people that, know about my branding course and they say, I just can't afford it. I'll just do it next year. They stay in the same spot for a whole 12 months and don't progress. And they've been trying and posting and putting out content, and they're still no better off in their business 12 months later because you've got no brand behind what you do on social media. So don't overlook building your brand. Do you know what your target market is? Do you know what problems you solve? Do you know how to come up with a branding message for your social media? Do you know how to attract a tribe? Do you know what kind of content to put around the brand to attract the tribe? Do you know how to build a page? Do you know how to build a group? You could put a brand on one or the other. All of that. So absolute must to attract more people to you, because otherwise it's just, when you're here, there and everywhere, so's your business. When you're laser focused on what your brand is on social media, you know why you're there, then other people will know why you're there. When you're more focused, just wonderful things happen. So number two is building your brand. And again, if you need help with that, look at the details above. If you're on Instagram, I'll put it in the comments section after the live. I've got a Zoom straight after my live, so shortly after that. Okay, or you can come over to Facebook and have a look at the details. Okay, or you can just go to helenmartinonline.com/branding, and that's where the information is. Okay, so that's number two. Number three, on social media, be that person that everyone wants to invite around for dinner. Do you get that? So portray that image like let me put it this way. Speak the language of opportunity. Write that down. Speak the language of opportunity. Be that person that when people look at you, even if they don't know you very well, but they just know you're genuine. They know you're authentic. You know you're into doing what you're doing, or the problems that you're solving, that you care about that and you care about people, and that you are a human before a marketer, and that you are behind people to enlighten them and inspire them to do more than they're currently doing. Like, be that person that people look at and go, I would love to invite them around to dinner one day. Do you know what I mean? Be that person, because that will attract more people to you. And that comes back to your content, yes. But speak the language of opportunity in your content. Speak the language of opportunity in your stories and stuff like that. So put inspiring stuff out there, empowering stuff. Share your journey. We all have crap times. Share them. A message that I love to share, because this is what I've learned to do, is, and you guys would have heard this from me before many times if you've been around me for a little while, is you'll never have a perfect life. You'll never do enough personal development that nothing ever affects you. You'll never be bulletproof. We're humans. We have emotions. We get down. We have moments of self-doubt. We have, fears around, will I ever be successful? Will I ever make it? Will this industry ever work for me? All of that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are or how successful you are. You are never immune to that. That's not reality, okay, to be immune to that. But what is reality is you're going to get knocked down. You're going to have bad times. You're going to want to give up on your business. You're going to have hurdles that come their way that, push you over. But it's how quickly you get back up. So it's not painting that message that life is going to be perfect and you need to live a perfect life, because that's not real. You're going to get knocked down over and over and over again. But when you get knocked down, how long do you stay there? That's what's important. Speak that language on social media. Inspire people to get back up quicker. And practice that yourself and share that on social media and be that person that people like seeing content from. So you're the person that they want to invite around for dinner. You will attract more people to you when you're that kind of person. Okay, so aspire to be the person that everyone wants to invite, around for dinner, because I guarantee you what you're putting out on social media, it either is attracting people to you or it's repelling people. It's doing one or the other. So what do you want to create for you? If you want to attract more people to you on social media, you want to speak the language of opportunity and enlightenment and hope and, dreams, and make your fears bigger than, wrong. Do not make your fears bigger than your dreams. Make your dreams bigger than your fears. What most people do is make their fears bigger than the dreams, and it holds you back because you're still worried about what people think of you on social media. You're still worried about what you're going to write on social media. You're still worried about what you're going to react to that message. Message to your upline. How do I respond to that? You forget how to talk like a normal human being when you get on social media. So all of that overthinking and stuff like that, like, empower people to get rid of all of that kind of stuff and just go for what they want. We only live once. Let's have a happy, rewarding, who cares what anybody thinks? It's your life. It's nobody else's. Spread that message. You with me? So that's number 3. Speak the language of opportunity, okay? Have that kind of content and vibe on your social media that people want to invite you around for dinner because you're interesting in some way, okay? Number 4, build your social equity. Those of you that joined me last week, just in my free group, I wasn't live on Instagram last week. I wasn't live on my business page. I wasn't live on YouTube because we were having a very intensive boot camp about how to get leads online. And we had a really good conversation about building your social equity. So if you don't know what that is, it's you being valuable, more valuable. So how can you be more valuable on social media? The more tips, the more things that you educate people around your brand, whatever that is, like the more valuable you become on social media. And I don't mean dollars. I mean, you give out great content. You teach people stuff without asking for anything in return. You share a lot of tips around whatever your brand is, whatever your niche is, that when you do turn around and recommend something, nobody's skeptical of you. And they're like, oh, I'd like a little bit more information about that. Because you've given so much value that people are not skeptical when you actually recommend something. So number 4 is you've got to be of service and you've got to give a lot. It's like withdrawing money from a bank account. You can't withdraw unless you've put deposits. Okay, you got to put a lot of deposits in the bank account before you can withdraw and have the wins. Okay, so the deposits are giving value and giving tips and showing up and being inspiring and sharing all the good stuff. So then when you've got something that you would like to share, to sell, to recommend to people to join you in your business, whatever it is, you can withdraw from the bank account because you've deserved it. You've put enough deposits in to make the withdrawal. Okay, so you've got to be of service and you've got to give. And it's not all about you. There will be posts you put on social media where you share your journey, and you might have a post that says, this is what I've done, and I. There may be some valid posts that you talk about yourself, but you don't want to do that 100% of the time, because people don't really care about you. They care about how they can relate to you for themselves. How is it that you can help people? What value can you give to people? What can you share with people? What can you teach people? But speak with your audience. Don't speak at them. There's a lot of people that have got great knowledge, but they continue to speak at their audience. They're not having a conversation with their audience. Okay, massive difference. So be of service, give lots of value, but talk with your audience about that, not at. You don't want to be dictative to everybody, because the message just doesn't come across the same way. Okay, so that's number 4. Build your social equity with the things that I've just shared with you. Okay. Number 5. Number 5, you've heard it a million times. You'll be like, yeah, I've heard that before, but it is so true. It is the consistency. How often are you posting? How regular? How many stories are you doing? How many posts are you doing? Some of you may know that I've got a challenge with myself, nobody else, just with myself, to post every single day on my personal profile for 30 days. Do you think that's making me think about how to be a little bit more creative or interesting or inspiring or whatever? Absolutely. But I'm doing that for me. I'm just trying to get better myself at sharing, a variety of content, like my 5 content buckets. Those of you that know what that means, that training that I've done on content creation, like I'm sharing that. Okay, so consistency is not only, I want to add something else to this as well. Consistency is not only about you posting, and I'm not saying you need to post on social media every single day. If you've got a business page, you should. If you've got a group, you should. On your personal profile, not necessarily, but don't leave it really any longer than 3 days without posting. But it's also replying. Do you know how many people's profiles and business pages and groups that I look at, that there are comments that people have not responded to? Or live videos where people have commented and you haven't gone back and commented back, like bad. If people are going to actually take the time out of their day, any kind of energy at all, to give you some love on social media, you've got to consistently give it back. Now, what I'm seeing more and more, it's quite interesting actually, the fact that I'm posting every day at the moment on my personal profile. The comments don't always come on that day. So I'm consistently, like every morning, I'm actually going back to the last few posts, and there'll be more comments from like 3 days, a post I did 3 days ago or a post I did 4 days ago. So every morning I'm scrolling back, and if there's any new additional posts, I'll at least acknowledge it or even comment back. So you've got to do that yourselves. It's not just in the moment and on the day that you respond. You've got to look back to the people that didn't see it that day. Maybe they saw it 2 days later. Maybe they saw it 3 days later. If you're not scrolling back and looking for new comments, you're not responding to those comments. So it's like somebody spent their time and energy with you, but you don't give a crap. Sorry to be blunt, but I see this far too often. And when I'm scrolling somebody's news feed, and there's lots of comments there and they've never been acknowledged and they've never been attended to, because maybe they weren't on the day. They were like, a day later or 3 days later. You've got to keep scrolling back to your content and acknowledge everybody and give them some love. So it's not only consistent content, from you outgoing, it's also consistently looking back and replying to people. That Messenger's easy because it's just going to pop up and you're going to see a new message. But on your news feed, a notification will hit your, hit your notifications alerts, but unless you're looking at your notifications, you might miss it. So you got to consistently put content out there, but also consistently respond when you do put content out there. Really, really, really important. Important for so many reasons, more than just making somebody feel acknowledged. It's to do with the algorithm. It's having conversations. It's driving your interaction back to your audience, which the algorithm is tracking all of that. So if you've got comments that are unattended, do not think that that's not hurting you in the algorithm, because it is. Okay, so, that kind of consistency. You can attract more people to you when you're more consistent with your content and more consistent with replying and acknowledging people. Okay, people love to be acknowledged. So that was number 5. Number 6, be in control of your every move on social media. Be in control of every move on your social media, and most of you are not. You're not planning out far enough ahead. You're that kind of person that's, I should post something today because I haven't posted anything for 3 days. And you're thinking of something last minute, and it's not coming to you, and you're not being creative, or you should do a live video and you haven't planned out your content. So then it gets too late at night and you're like, it's too late, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow rolls around, but because you haven't planned out what you were going to say, then tomorrow night goes by and you still haven't done your live. Like, be in control of your social media. When you pick up your phone, don't be dragged into being a consumer of it and just spying on everybody and looking looking at what everyone's doing. Actually, be a proper creator on social media, and actually be really intentional about the content you put out. Be really intentional about the consistency of the content you put out. Be really intentional about replying to people's comments. Be really intentional regarding your content, which is congruent with the personal brand that you've created for yourself. Do you get the hints? The more intentional you are, the better you are going to attract the right people to you. There is no use you attracting thousands and thousands of people to you on a personal profile, a business page, or a group, and they're all the wrong people. And that all comes back to your brand. So if you're not intentional about your brand, you're not intentional about your content, you're not intentional about the planning of your content, you're just not intentional at all, you're not in control of your every move on social media, you're the kind of person that social media will exhaust you, because you're trying and you're trying, but there's no brand behind it to get you any traction, because you're not building the right audience, because you haven't got your brand sorted out and the content to go with the foundation of the brand, and you're not being consistent because you're not planning out your content. You just let life get in the way all the time, and suddenly 7 days go by and you haven't posted, you haven't done a story, you haven't done a live, you're avoiding live videos. You can't be bothered with reels because you tried it once and you couldn't work out how to put the words on the screen. So now you gave up. None of that's intentional. Okay? So be in control of your social media so it doesn't exhaust you, because social media can very easily exhaust you. What did I put on my notes here? I'm not even reading my notes, but plan your content, plan your lives, map out your goals, work on yourself. Your personal development. Like, you should start your morning every day with something to do with personal development. Plan out what you eat, plan out your exercise, know when you're going to, exercise. I've already exercised this morning, and I know I'm going to the gym with my son tonight. Already organized. Like, plan it out. Make time for learning. But don't get sucked into learning, because you can learn as much as you like, but unless you put it into action, it doesn't really help you. So make time for learning, but make more time for putting it into action, those kind of things. Make time for reading or audio, whatever floats your boat. Just take responsibility, by being in control of your every move. Okay. So that was number 6. Number 7 is an interesting one. You may not, I was just about to say you may not be ready for it, but that's not true. You can do this at any point in your journey. Learn to collaborate. Learn to collaborate on social media and get in front of each other's audiences. And don't be afraid to ask people that you can interview on your pages for somebody's got some expertise. You look up to certain people. You'd be surprised at who will say yes to you if you send them a message and say, look, I would love to interview you, even if it's on your personal profile, whatever, But if you've got a business page or a group, it could be more pointed. There's somebody who's got some really good skills and knowledge that could help your audience. Learn to collaborate on social media. It's much more fun. You can get a lot more traction. You can use each other's audiences as eyeballs. It can introduce new people to you. And it's a win-win because it can introduce new eyeballs to other people. Like when it comes to social media, you don't want to think of competition between each other. You want to think of how can we help win together? And you'll attract more people to you when you collaborate with more people. So I just want to leave that one for food for thought. You can actually attract more people to you when you collaborate and get involved with other communities and people and gurus. And don't be afraid to ask somebody. If you want to interview them on your social media, do that. If somebody can't do it or don't want to do it, what's the worst that can happen? They say, oh, no, I don't really have the time for that now. No worries at all. Thank you very much for considering it. And you just move on. But what if somebody you look up to, that's got some great experience and great skills and great knowledge actually says yes? How cool would that be? So learning to collaborate, okay? So very quick recap. Number 1 is your content. No, but you got to listen to, if you just jumped on this live right at the end, please go back and listen to what I actually mean by all of these. So number 1 is your content. Number 2 is building your brand. Don't waste time by not having a brand. I'm very passionate about that. Number 3, speak the language of opportunity. Number 4, be of service, give, build your social equity. Number 5 is consistency, not only with posting, but replying. Number 7 is being in control of your every move, like planning and all that stuff that I read out. And number 7 is collaborating. Don't be afraid to collaborate. Get out of your comfort zone and ask somebody to, do an interview with. It can do really good things, for you. But that's, there's more. But that's my top 7 tips that I think when you strip it all back and you stop looking for the silver bullet to, there's more. Another one I didn't mention, which is really, 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 really important, and I mentioned it in the Lead Generation Bootcamp, is you've got to consistently be building your audience and get your face in front of new people. You should always be friend requesting every single day to get new faces looking at you. On a business page, you should be growing up your following every day. If you've got a group, you should be bringing in new members every single day. It's got to be a focus point for you, because if you're talking to the same people all the time and they're not buying, and you keep putting the content out there, you keep going live, you keep doing all the things, but you're not growing your audience, that's a hard slog. When the people that are already listening to you aren't, you're not getting any traction from them. You've always got to be building your audience. So that's a little bonus tip, I guess. There's lots of things that are going to help you attract more people to you, but don't forget about the foundational things. Content, building your brand, consistency, building up your social equity, which will bring you the audience after that, all these things that I've mentioned. Does that make sense? Sometimes you just got to strip it back and get to the important things, because it'll make a huge difference, especially when you are more intentional about what you're doing on social media. Because if you're not, you'll get exhausted by it, and you're the one that takes a big break. It's I've just got to get off social media. Social media is exhausting me. I've got to get off it for a month. Don't do that, because then your audience is following somebody else who didn't get off social media for a month, and you will not get them back. Okay? Yes, Beth, social media is so busy and we need to stand out. Brand, and then the content flows. You know it, girl, because you've done it. Speak with our audience, not at them. Absolutely, Christina. I love that my content is really planned out ahead of time. Yeah, you've got it nailed, Beth. You've done a lot of work on it, and it's just awesome. I've been reevaluating the give value, the topics, engaging people, not dictating when I give videos, asking the relevant questions, or intentional about branding, considering content plan out the day, share valuable info, as if you're engaging a personal friend. Give. Yes, love it, Lynn. Love it. Well done. Okay, I've got 15 seconds to get on my next call, so I better go to not keep them waiting, but I'll come back and read the rest of your comments. Please just take this on board and sort of sit down and think about how you can do a better job at these foundational things before you go and, learn email marketing and lead magnets and freebies and all those kind of things. You've got to have these foundational pieces down pat to really truly attract people to you. But I'm right behind you. I'm here to encourage you to do that. So now join me. Oh, if you're still here listening, I'm late for my other meeting now. Still here listening, I'm going to be live an hour and a half earlier tomorrow. So I'll put up a reminder later, but just if you want to turn up with me live tomorrow, I will be live an hour and a half earlier than I normally am tomorrow because I'm hosting a webinar for another group. So yeah, just heads up about that. And don't forget the information regarding the branding course starting next week is up above in the description. So I've got to go and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.